So fall has gone well, and as planned, Tour de Fleece 2026 has already started for you. Assuming you're watching when this came out, which it's fine if you're watching years later. Hopefully it's fine. I don't know how, I can't tell the future. But for me, Tour de Fleece is about a week and a half away. So this is when everybody else is posting their Tour de Fleece prep videos, and what normal people usually do is they're scouring their fiber, they're carding it, they're making rolags, they're doing all of those wonderful things. But you're gonna get tired of this. If you're watching every single one of my videos, I'm so glad you're still here. If you're new, welcome to my channel. I'm Wolf and I do stuff and things, and I just seem to be incapable of doing things normally. Case in point. Yeah, I'm not going to be preparing my fiber. This is my first Tour de Fleece, so I will be using commercially prepared fiber. It is locally dyed though, and I'm very, very excited about it. Hello, Muffin. Would you like some of my water? No. Peasant water. Not interested in my water. He has his own. Prefers his own. Yeah. You're showing your bum to the world. And I lost my train of thought. It got derailed by a big fluffy badonkadonk. Okay, so where was I? Oh yeah, I never do things normally. So my Tour de Fleece prep is actually going to be focusing on making my spinning tools portable, comfortably so. So if you watched my not last video, the one before last video where I was spinning a Corriedale braid and I took my wheel outside for the first time. You saw me put this wheel into this bag. Now, this is a bag I sewed for myself for knitting. This is my main knitting bag. This worked, but I detailed my complaints about this not being the perfect fit in that video. It's not large enough. I would like to have some kind of space to separate my fiber from the wheel. This bag has little pockets all the way around the inside. So when you're trying to put a wheel in, it catches in all of those little pockets. And also those pockets are too small for the pedal and the cable. A few of my wonderful viewers mentioned that, hey, these little pockets that are inside that are catching on everything, what I can do is I can flip the bag inside out. This is where you see there's so much dirt in there. There's no more pockets inside. Honestly, was absolutely freaking genius. Boom. It's a lot easier to get the wheel in. So that solves that problem, but there's still other problems. It works, but it doesn't bring joy. So that's gonna be the first part of the project, is gonna be making a bag for my wheel. Now, this is gonna be a little sneak peek. I have a project going that you're not going to see for a very long time, but it's already very much in progress. And I take this with me everywhere. I'm using my Sashiko bag for it. I evicted all of my fabric marking tools from here because that's what I was using this for. It's fine, but it's not great. It's a little clumsy to carry it around like this. I want to make a little bag for my little spindle too, just so that this project is also more portable. So I will be spinning on this one through TDF as well, but not as much. My TDF project will be on my electric wheel, and this one will probably not even be counted, just because I think it would be very difficult for me to count the exact yardage spun here because it's already in progress. So hello. Welcome to a corner of my room you don't normally see. And part of the reason you never really saw this is because it was a mess. I have since cleaned it up. Make of that what you will, all right? Like, don't feel like your life is a mess. All of our lives are a mess, okay? And this is my fabric stash. This is not like completely all of it. I have some muslin and some other like muslin adjacent things that are in a box somewhere. Hi, you exploring? What are you doing? Hi. The bottom here, there's 3 flannels from Joann's. Type F's in the chat from Joann's. Actually, I think these were from Joann's too. But everything from there up is fair game to make stuff out of. And this is what I'm going to be choosing from. Are you going to be new fabric? So just for like your sense of where we're at in the planning process, I have a very clear image in my head of what shape I want these bags to take. I haven't drawn it yet. I haven't drafted the pieces yet, but I have like a very strong vision. I want to use a very stiff fabric for a few very particular pieces. So what I'm thinking is this that I got from a thrift store. Yeah, so the back looks like knit fabric, and I don't know if the camera is picking up like the actual texture or not, but it looks like knit fabric. And the front just looks like fake dry leather. Is this noise bad? Sorry if it was a bad noise. But yeah, it just seems like some sort of fake leather situation. But it is very pretty and it is very thick and sturdy. And another option is this. It's very, very pretty. It's not as sturdy. This one is a maybe. Is this better? Oh, hi. I mean, it's definitely better because there's two cats now instead of one messing with my stuff. Okay, that's your bed now. Okay. Are you guys gonna start fighting? You are gonna start fighting. Okay. Please hold. Oh my goodness. Okay, my head is cut off. Of course it is. Okay, I'm just gonna scrouch over. My posture was too good. No. You stole it. So I have this and I have this. Here's my options. I think I'm gonna put these back into their glass prison. And then the rest of these I'm gonna put on the table and then we're gonna figure out what we're doing. I might need to draft at least some of the larger pieces first just to see how much I might potentially need, because I think I'm gonna need some pretty big chunks for some of the thoughts I'm having. So let's take a little bit of a pause and just talk through what it is that I'm doing for the big bag for my wheel. So the overall idea is pretty simple. It's just a shoulder bag with a drawstring, but once you loosen the drawstrings, it flattens out into a big oval-shaped mat. There's going to be a big pocket for fiber. I'm aiming for at least 4 ounces. And then there's going to be smaller pockets on the other side for the pedal, for the wheel, and just whatever else I might want to carry around. Now, if you know anything at all about how drawstrings work, you probably already see a very funny issue I'm going to run into at the end of this. But do not worry. I do not realize this until I'm looking around trying to figure out what I can use for the drawstring. And for the smaller bag for the spindle, I didn't even end up drawing it. It's a very simple design, so we're gonna get onto that and we're gonna use scraps for that later. So let's get back to drafting. So I got some packing paper featuring major teeth marks because one of my cats tried taking a couple of bites out of it. Teeth marks, teeth marks, teeth marks, teeth marks. More teeth marks. So I think the core of the design is going to be like a big orange rectangle. And that rectangle will go up to, I think, here, all the way down, all in the bottom, and all the way back up. Now, if the wheel is right here, do you see the vision yet? Now, if I want this to unfold into a mat that's flat, this whole side and this whole side needs to be almost like a semicircle. Now, the good news is, like, I don't need a full half circle here because I only need this side to be tall enough to get to here. We need some kind of round shape. So can I freehand this? Oh, you can actually see that on camera. Look at that. Yeah, there's like 3 inches here that are pretty much along the straight line. I don't think it really matters that much how much you leave here, but it does need to kind of round out a little bit. It's not gonna look very round if it's not like that. And also, this is where the centerpiece is gonna attach, and that's gonna be completely flat for a long time, so this also needs to round out nicely. If you leave sharp corners here, then once you sew it, it's not gonna be round. It's gonna be sharp like this. Oh, I forgot seam allowance on this side. I don't think this was very much aligned either, because something's not adding up here. It's gonna be fine. There you go. Is the vision starting to clear up a little bit? Hopefully. This will unfold into a pretty big mat, a much bigger one than I thought it would. Maybe that's cute, maybe that's nice to just have space to put stuff. Now, the fabric I was gonna use for these side circles was either this or this. So let's see if either of them can actually accommodate 2 pieces of this. I don't think so. If I piece them out of quarter pieces, I believe I can fit them. Yeah, like it's totally fine. If I don't mind piecing it, I should be fine. Okay, well then both are still options, which is good. You'll have to forgive me, you're in a completely different spot right now. Now, since it's been a few hours, I've been busy, but the cabbage has been fermenting, and I think it's really good to let your cabbage ferment. It does good things. I think I'm about decided on the big picture. I believe the outer you already knew. I'm using this weird, I don't know, I'm just gonna call it faux leather. Can my sewing machine sew it? I sure hope so. This is the centerpiece of the outside and straps. This will be the fabric for the sides, and this will make the scrunchy top. And then for the inside, I figured this is gonna be the big round shapes, but the middle, to mirror the centerpiece, I'm gonna use this. Hi, I'm from the future. Quite a distant future, actually. While some of you would probably really enjoy watching me mumbling numbers for a few hours, trying to figure this out, I am the consciousness that's been tasked with somehow making a concise and compelling narrative from that mess. And I admit defeat. I don't know how to edit that into something that makes any sense whatsoever. So this is the result. These are the pattern pieces I did eventually come up with for the big bag. And look, I could be all clever and I could pretend that I just whipped things out just, you know, within 5 minutes and just drew them on paper and it just worked. No, that's not how it works. It was a lot of just waffling about and drafting and redrafting and doing my best to guess and assume it's gonna work. This was a messy process and it took a very long time. Here's what the pieces look like right now. So I redrafted the circle pieces. I divided them in half, so it's sort of like quarter circly things. I did add seam allowances, so there's no more of the issue where I need to remember that there's not a seam allowance on one bit. For the outer centerpiece, this remained the same, but for the inner, I decided to divide this into 3 pieces. So to not have to worry about remembering where the seam allowances and all of that needs to go, I actually drafted these separately. So I believe this is the middle. So here's the middle piece with seam allowances, and here's the side piece, again, with a seam allowance. Then I moved on to the pockets. This is the big pocket. So these are the corner cutouts that will fold so that, you know, it's a nice big sticky outy pocket. I did decide to cut this on the fold here so that the pocket is a bit more sturdy and has 2 layers of fabric. And even if you open the pocket, you still see the good side of the fabric, not the wrong side. Now for the other side, for the smaller pockets, I decided to just take this piece. Remember the one that was like this chunk here and also this chunk, because they're the same. I decided that for pockets, I'm just gonna fold this in half and cut it on the fold here. So you could say I didn't really need to fold it in half. I could just cut the whole thing, right? But it made more sense to me to fold this in half and be like, okay, this is what the pocket is gonna be. There were a couple of things that I did not draft. For shoulder straps, there's 2 pieces. They're around 32 inches by 3 inches. I just drew that directly onto the orange faux leather. And then there's also the, I think I called it the scrunchy channel because there is like a channel that runs all the way around where the drawstring goes. And for those, I kind of have some estimates here, but realistically what I did is I just folded the fabric into, I believe, 4 strips evenly, and that was it. And I just, however much there was, that's what it was. And then I cut it down to length as I needed. I really hope I don't have to travel into the past again to try and salvage the story. Hopefully it's just up from here. Bye-bye. Hi, it's tomorrow. Today, we potentially start ruining things. And by that I mean I'm just gonna cut out the fabric today. Fabric scissors. I bought fabric scissors very recently, and man, is it worth it. I got the Kai 7230. I don't know how they compare to all of the other ones, but these are nice for my tiny hands, and I really like them. Make a really nice snip snip noise. There's a deer outside. Okay, the deer had a snack, drank some water, and my cats are losing it now because it was right next to the window. Cool. We're ready to sew, I think. My space is ready. I have a headache, and you always want to have a headache when you're sewing. It really helps. I'm going to start from the inside. So we're going to take a lining out approach because I'm a little bit intimidated by this whole fake leather nonsense. I kind of don't want to start with it. So this one is the smaller pocket for the petals and such. I want to do a little top stitching line, not quite up to the fold line, just like maybe an inch down or so, maybe 3/4. With this, I do want to do the same kind of top stitch towards the top. But the main thing I have to deal with is these corners that will form the box shape. I think I have it figured out. So I unfold it and then I fold every corner this way and sew along here. Maybe, I think that's how it works out. We'll see. One inside out and one right side in, and then fold this here. Tuck the corners into each other. And boom. See? It's like a boxy pocket shape. So now I'm going to do the little top stitching right here on this pocket and that one. There we go. I feel like the thread color matches pretty good. Pocket 2 ready. Now I'm going to take one of my side pieces, the one that's going to go vertically like this inside the bag, and plop this on the bottom of it. So I have it just hooked into place. Here's where the pocket is. You see the crease line I ironed in? So that's what I'm going to sew. I'm going to sew along that crease line to divide the pocket into 2. Here we go. Bottomless pocket, bottomless pocket. So here's my centerpiece. Put it down right sides together. Now I have everything sandwiched together. I'm going to sew just along this line here. Pocket, pocket. Ooh, it's getting hot in here. I think I need to open the window. Now we need to assemble the other side that this pocket will be attached to. Okay, so I kind of just pin this all the way around. So this is the wrong side of the fabric. The right side is inside of the pocket. Oh, look at my red nose. I'm like Rudolph. But I think I'm just gonna go forward with hubris and audacity, and what could possibly go wrong? Nothing ever goes wrong in sewing, right? Maybe I just go for it. Maybe I just start attaching this. Yeah, what if I let go of these side clips? Here's the pocket. Seems pretty good to me. Now I need to prepare the circly bits. I need to sew them into pairs so that they're both ready. And then we're gonna sew them onto this, and hopefully that's gonna be the lining. Pretty pressed seam. So let's just kind of start, I guess, because what could possibly go wrong? I'm doing this wrong. And you didn't tell me. Needs to be right sides together, duh. I'm just gonna put in an absurd amount of clips and hope. Do we believe? I don't know if I do. Okay, the pocket might get a little scrungly in the corner there. Okay, moment of truth. Oh yeah, this pocket has a little pucker. It's doing like a little weird thing, but I don't think we care. And there we go. Here's the lining in all of its glory. Let's do the part that I've been kind of dreading. And please pardon the flushed face. It's very hot in here. This fake thrift store leather, whatever this is, I need to figure out if I can press it and how I can press it. I really hope I can press it to some extent. Here's my iron set to synthetics. I'm gonna put it just a little bit below synthetics. So the first thing I'm gonna try to do is I'm just gonna try and iron it in half, and I'm gonna try to iron it from the wrong side. I've seen people online say that works perfectly fine. And then I heard a lot of people say that ironing from the front is not for the faint of heart, so I assume that goes wrong very quickly. Well, that did nothing. You put a little oomph into it. Nothing. This overall became more pliable though, so that's really interesting. I have a feeling I'm just gonna have to top stitch everything. And I can't really pin anything, so I'm gonna have to do a lot of clips. This is Mara 70. First thing I need to do is get a bobbin filled. I think I saw somebody online using a 9010. Sorry, I lied, 9014. And they're using universal ones and not leather ones. They said leather ones leave too big of a hole. So, do I have one of those? Oh, these are both 9014. Great. That's what I'm gonna use then. Okay, it's in and threaded. Good thing it's just a black bear, and just me closing the window spooked it enough that it's gone. In other news, the backside's okay. It's not like super perfect, but we're getting there. I think it's passable, and I think I'm gonna call it good enough. Here's a piece I didn't show you. Happy Pride Month. Belated Pride Month for you, but it's still Pride Month for me. I bought this a while ago to use as maker's marks, and I don't think I used it once. So how about we fix that? Do a little chunk. It's just gonna be sticking out of a seam, just like yay much. Focus! Focus on the pride. There we go. Oh, shoot. I rethreaded everything and changed all the settings, but the first seam I need to do is still with the old thread and all of the, oh, dang it. Almost looks like a potato crisp or chip, depending on where you are. And now we can start assembling the front. Let's do the whole right sides together stuff. There you go. Look at this thing. Now I need to try and top stitch this. Oh, it's good. Look. Ah! I'm so happy. That looks so good. All right, seam number 2. Oh, it's so pretty. Look at this pancake with a racing stripe. Now, the next thing I need to figure out is the straps. Now, if anybody's panicking, that faux leather just disintegrates with age, and this is from a thrift store, so I don't know how long this is gonna survive. To that I say, everything we make is ephemeral. Everything we make will disintegrate in some form or another. And I'm okay with this. This is my first time making this kind of bag. There's still a chance I'm not gonna like it. Like, I really don't see a point in worrying about this. 20 billion clips later. So I'm gonna try a top stitch right by this little seam where they meet on one side and the other. And then I'm gonna try to top stitch on the edges here. I might be playing bobbin chicken. Don't tell anybody. Have 2 straps. Also, please ignore this. We don't talk about that, okay? Now there's a few ways of putting these pieces together, but what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to put them right sides together. I do need to make sure I sandwich the channels in. So the first thing to figure out is if they're even long enough. Okay, so I'm gonna sew these together to make longer strips. The problem is I don't know what length I need for these. Now, if this lays exactly flat when I flip it over, I don't really care. I'm fine if there's a lip to my sort of playmat, I guess. And now I'm going to mark exactly where the seam is. And if I cut exactly where this line is and then fold over to encase the raw edge, that's just going to give it a nice little gap. And I think that's going to be perfect. So now I need to cut all of them down so that they're all about this length. I think it's time to start figuring out how to assemble this. The handles go on first, I believe. There we go. Now step 2 is placing these. There we go. We have this going on now. So as you can see, when this gets sewn, it will get flipped around the right way and the handles will be where we want them to be. Now, this was already slow and tricky, but I need to add my lining on top of this. Here goes nothing. Here's the dumpling. Oh, look at that. Look how neat this looks. I have made it all the way around. My poor little sewing machine really struggled with like these bits where there's 6 layers. I had to walk her through by hand. So I think in a perfect world, I would add reinforcement stitching here, but my sewing machine was really struggling. So I really don't want to test her. Oh, this is gonna be so good. I am exhausted. I am hungry. It is way too late. I can't believe I actually did this today. Bye-bye for today. Actually, oh no, it's still today. Okay, bye-bye for today. I have recovered from yesterday's sewing adventures. Well, can you ever really recover from anything? Things went well, and a deer didn't stop me, and a bear didn't stop me. And actually, so the deer was like ready to pick a fight with me, but the bear thought that I was the scariest creature it ever saw, and I'm taking that as a compliment. Highest tier. And with all that in mind, I have even more hubris and audacity than normal, and I'm thinking, what if I make the pouch round? What could possibly go wrong? Let's figure this out. What's the circly thing called in English? No, myrrh is not the correct word for it. I don't know what it's called in any language, so like don't at me. So how tall is this? Boom. It'll make sense when everything is cut out and sewn together. The first thing I'm going to tackle is going to be the lining. I'm going to do the lining out approach again. Behold. Can you, camera? Now, the circlining. Behold, an anemone. Nasty. But that's okay. And this is the lining. Whee! Goodbye. So I'm gonna make the cylinder part first, and I think I'm gonna put the maker's mark in this seam. This looks really good. It's still not perfect. The feed dogs kind of snorkeled a little bit. Now I need to turn this into a tube. See the little scrunchies? Okay, nothing can possibly go wrong. If I say it enough times, it's gonna be true. How do I keep this aligned while I'm shoving it under the machine? Already struggling and I haven't even started. Ooh, hold on. I had a cabbage movement. It's like a bowel movement, but better. Well, actually, no, I don't know if it's better. It depends on how your physiology works. Ooh, there's more interfacing here. I didn't know. I have painter's tape, or whatever this is, masking tape. And while I'm not convinced this is gonna make it easy, I'm pretty sure it's gonna make it a heck of a lot easier. He's all taped up. It's a little hat. The tape was such a good cabbage movement. Look, I'm very, very proud of that. Next step is going to be assembling everything together. What you would do is you would put this inside out, you would put the lining around, and then you would sew it, leave an opening, flip it inside out, and then top stitch. Also not forgetting to sandwich all of these. But I do not want to deal with turning this out because it's so stiff. So I'm just gonna iron in the seam allowances and do my best to align everything and pin it and clip it together as I can. And then hopefully I can just top stitch it all together and it's just gonna work. I didn't catch the lining. It's like half of it is not attached. Look, I should have foreseen this because every single time I'm like, this time I'm gonna line it and it's gonna be perfect and it's just gonna work and it's gonna be great. And every single time it doesn't quite work like that. So you'd think I would learn, but no. I just keep believing. I just keep believing in myself that I can do that. Oh well, I'm gonna sew this on by hand. So I guess you know what time it is, right? You've been around, you know the drill. Yeah, it's time for the reveal. So as is tradition, welcome back inside. If you enjoy my content, please leave a like and a comment or subscribe or all of the above. Whatever you feel like giving me, it all really helps. I will draw a very simple diagram of the shapes and sizes of the pieces I drafted for these bags, just in case you want them for whatever reason. It will unfortunately not include detailed sewing instructions. I am not a sewing teacher. I don't know that much about sewing. I just kind of grab things and go, and not everything goes to plan a lot of the time, right? I'm doing my best, but if you want the measurements, they will be there. It's not going to be one of those like print and ready to go patterns. It's just going to be like, here's the numbers in case you want them. So with that in mind, am I happy with these? Absolutely. I love them. But that said, that does not mean they're perfect. Except for maybe the small spindle bag. I'm actually very happy with it. The spindle I'm using is the Acorn Original from Batty Fibers. This tiny little guy right here. As you can see, if you roll up a Rolag, it's all nice and cozy down there. And you can totally stack like 3 of them, or maybe 4. You could probably put 4 Rolags in there. If you like spinning from Rolags, if you have a teeny tiny spindle, this bag is actually really nice. And you just clip it to your bum and you're ready to spin at a moment's notice. Now for this bag, so it kind of does what I hoped it would do, but there were some things I really didn't consider. And some things just worked out the way they did because of the fabric I chose. If I chose fabric I have more of, I could have made this taller so that it scrunches better, so there's not just like an open gap here. Another thing is I made this exactly the height it needs to be, just because if I made it any taller, I just would not have had enough fabric. When I did the drawing, I made this kind of like a nice rounded shape. Well, this can't have that because it doesn't have the extra fabric to kind of nicely drape. So yeah, like it's not a big deal. It just looks kind of weird and boxy and crumpled up. Now here's one thing that I really did not consider. So I was going to make these straps the way I made the straps for this. So there's actually 2 straps in here, right? And you know, pull them and they help each other to scrunch everything together nicely. I didn't think how long the strap was gonna turn out, just because, you know, the whole round circumference thing. So I didn't actually do 2 straps because it's just too much strap to use. So I used one and I scavenged these. I don't even know what these are. I scavenged them off of some backpacks. They do their job. And then the straps, they're kind of silly. They do dangle really low. So what I usually do is I just scrunch them and just shove them in here in this open top. Another thing I did not think about at all is that, like, I designed this primarily to take outside and have it as sort of like a play mat. So in case you have, you know, your fiber and maybe a snack, or maybe you don't have a surface to sit on, so you also can kind of put your bum on it a little bit. Like it gives you surface area to protect your stuff from just, you know, forest crumbs on the ground. But I secretly also hope that this would serve as something I can just, you know, bring to my local crafting group or you know, hang out with friends, that kind of thing. And then I realized, so you just bring this, right? You just bring this, you plop it on the table, and you open it up to get your wheel out, and it takes up the entire table. Which is a bit much, at least in the spaces I hang out in. Usually it's like a pretty big group and there's not that much table space. I don't think people would appreciate you just coming in and just, this is mine now. I know I'm like critiquing this and being like, oh, all these things and stuff. I'm very happy with this. Like, I just came up with an idea and I executed it with mostly just materials that I had. I think the only thing that I didn't have was the strap. And this is definitely gonna work for the specific reason I made it for. And I think you're gonna see me use this a lot during Tour de Fleece. Thank you for sticking around through this whole video. I appreciate you very, very much, and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.